Hello, guys. Welcome to another exciting installment of Touchline Talk. 2 o'clock. I know it's slightly later than usual, apologies. But with your boy, Nobbins. Hello, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Exciting developments are taking place in the City world. Trafford, who we basically knew was coming to City. We was basically, confirmed whatever the other day. Now it's obviously been escalated, but there's an even more interesting / exciting bit of information that has been revealed today. So we are going to be discussing that Trafford situation. We'll be discussing the Ederson situation. I also want us to just have a just like a general recap / perspective chat on the signings that City have brought in overall, because I don't know why, but the signing, well, not even the signing of the Isak development, not even like confirmation of going to Liverpool yet, the confirmation that he apparently wants to leave Newcastle and potentially go to Liverpool, that has, for some people, led them into a spiral where a few weeks ago they were ecstatic about City's window, and now it's apparently shit and not good enough. So we're going to hopefully recap and refresh why that's mental, and just go through City signings one more time. I feel like, because that's a little bit mad. Anyway, how we doing? Oh, let me get my mouse sorted. Afternoon, Miami. Eddie and James fighting for a #1 spot is best case scenario. So Slicky, yeah, we'll get more involved with that conversation, because I'm very much in agreement, to be honest with you. This isn't a Spurs top, it's a Marvel top. What? I don't even know what that means. Here comes my nemesis. What? No matter what Trafford does in training, Pep's going to start Eddie, and that's such a shame, says Ermia. Well, we'll get into that. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Yanko. That's lovely to see you, True Citizen. Change your name to True Citizen so I know who you are, mate. Hello, Musty. Of course, Evan, good to see you too. Hello, Sam. Trafford must play at least 40% of the matches as pitch perspective. I don't know if that will be realistic, but we will have a chat about that. I remember you kept saying City didn't want Trafford. When the fuck did I say this? Brian. I think you are confusing me with someone else. I am not in the know. And I know nothing about what City wants. So, you saying I remember you kept saying City don't want Trafford is objectively... Say it with me, guys. It's objectively incorrect. I don't know where that's come from. But let's nip that in the bud immediately, shall we? The question is Trafford an upgrade to Ortega, says B. We'll get into that, I'm sure. Trafford to be #1 by December. Newcastle have been shafted this window. Yeah. They've had one of the worst windows ever. As it turns out. For a club that's who I, in my head, we're going to take... It's obviously we don't know what's going to happen yet. For a club that I thought were going to try to take the next step, they had to have a real show of resilience. And to be fair, they did with Bruno Guimaraes and Tino Livramento. They've allegedly done that. But their crown jewel is allegedly wanting to go. So that's not the indication of a club that's going to make that next step. So it's a shame for them. It is a shame for them. You need to fix your Twitter replies. Some guy said Liverpool are making the new Galacticos by signing the best 9 in the world and Verts while we sign Burnley rejects. What? What is going on? But yeah, there we go, guys. So, as always, this is Touchline Talk, interactive, back and forth Q&A show. So I'll have a bit of a chat, and then we'll have a bit of a chat together. So yeah, we spoke about Trafford earlier in the week, on Tuesday to be exact on a Touchline talk. Or was it last Friday, actually? I can't remember when it was. It was, oh no, I think it was like when I came back, wasn't I, from holidays? Because last Tuesday we talked about the right-back situation. So it must have been on Sunday or Saturday. That's when it was. We talked about Trafford because that seemed to be the direction City were going in respect to the goalkeeper. So we were talking about, is this a good move or not? And I'm not going to say I was down on the signing. I would say that I was cautious. Still am cautious. And was, again, ambivalent isn't the right word, but I think, I wasn't certain, essentially. I thought we were going in one direction with the goalkeepers, whether that was Costa or whoever, a more senior option. And at that stage, it looked like we were going to sell Ederson and bring in Trafford. And I didn't even contemplate the situation which we are potentially arriving at if rumours are to be believed. And to be fair, it is like Ornstein saying all this stuff, so I think it is basically confirmed. Because we all know, based on his comments, that Trafford does not see himself as a second choice option. He's constantly spoken about how he wants to be the number one at City. He's constantly spoken about how he wants to be the number one for England. And he's not going to do that if he's like this long-term number two. So lots of people were talking about Trafford as if he could maybe come in as this longer-term second choice, and maybe like we bring in another goalkeeper on top of him, whether that's Costa or whoever. That didn't ever seem realistic to me based on Trafford's comments. And so I was approaching it from the perspective of, is he ready to immediately get thrown in as the number one choice for City in what we all hope is going to be a sort of bounce back season? Because obviously we didn't have the best season last year, and it's not the season we would have wanted. We want to try to bounce back and become a title challenger again. Hopefully win the title, of course. But we certainly want to challenge for it. And as I say, that was a bit of an unknown for me. He was fantastic in the Championship, whatever. I think he showed glimpses of being a fantastic goalkeeper in his Premier League season. But ultimately, it's a pretty big move and step up to go from being a very good Championship goalkeeper, of course, to a side that wants to compete for the title. That was my concern. That, as I say, that was the unknown. And I do indeed still have that doubt. However, it's also been announced. I'm going to not misquote. Let's get it exactly. What's the exact wording? What's the exact situation? I think it was Ornstein. I quote tweeted it, didn't I? Where is it? Ederson is set to stay. So this is from David Ornstein. Ederson is set to stay at City this summer, with the expectation being that Ortega could still leave, but nothing is close at present. And then there was another one who said something like, Trafford knows he won't be City's number one keeper for now. The plan is for Ederson to leave at the end of the season. So it seems to be the case. Let me just check Ederson's contract situation. I believe it expires next season. I believe. Yes, his contract expires next season. So to me, I think what we are dealing with is ideal scenario, best case scenario for City. If the starting point is that Trafford is coming in. Ederson's contract is ending next season, indeed, Dave, yes. It's ending next season, so I suppose that he will naturally just leave the club. He'll be released, whatever the technical term is. If this is to be believed, of course, who knows what will happen. His contract will naturally expire next year. He will then be able to go wherever he wants. He can lock in or whatever the term is for his final year, hopefully. And Trafford can come in and not necessarily, he doesn't have to now immediately make that jump to immediate starter. Now, that does not mean that he won't be our starter the year after, and the year after, and the year after, and whatnot, and whatnot, and whatnot. But it seems to me that that makes the most logical sense. That Trafford comes in. There's no pressure to be the immediate number one. Ederson's still at the club. You give Trafford all the cup games, like the League Cup, FA Cup, maybe even have some Champions League games also, certainly have some Premier League games as well, but there can be an idea that certainly for like the first half of the season, Ederson is like your designated number one. Trafford can get a decent amount of game time. Depending on how things go, maybe City end the season with Trafford as the chief number one, in which case it's an even more natural way to get Ederson out on a free, and then Trafford can just naturally take over therein. Or it is simply, Ederson is just regarded as the number one, and Trafford is able to just naturally learn from Ederson. And again, there isn't this ridiculous jump that's expected of him to be able to do that. And I think that is a far better scenario, because again, I was very, very concerned. That that jump, that gap would be too great for Trafford to hit. My qualms have been quashed a little bit there. So I'm very happy with this scenario. It's all lovely and fine and dandy as far as I can tell. And again, I think that we have to sort of borderline accept at this point that given all the other issues that are going on with the HG situation, we sort of had to accept that we were going to have to look to that area. In fact, it's something that we suggested, wasn't it? When we first looked at it, we were like, well, we could maybe bring in Costa and bring in a backup non-homegrown option. That sort of worked out in a weird way, not in the way we thought it would, but the net outcome is the same. So that's quite interesting. So I'm personally very happy with that as a concept. Again, I would have been concerned had we were just expecting Trafford to immediately from day one become our number one. I would have been upset with that. I think it would make far more sense for him to have a year as an understudy and obviously starting some games, learning from Ederson, because if any goalkeeper knows how to play how Guardiola wants him to play, it's Ederson. He's the goalkeeper who spent the most time with Pep, so fantastic player to learn from in that sense. And as I say, make it more of a natural process rather than just thrown into the deep end. Here you go. So I'm personally really happy with the outcome, even if I still have reservations on Trafford being the undisputed number one immediately. But if that happens, this would alleviate my concerns. What do you guys reckon, though? Are you a bit more assured based on this news? I mean, were you always assured? Is it still jury's out for you? Let me know. I guess worst case scenario is, Trafford in the games he plays doesn't impress and is like, dusty, in which case you then, Ederson goes naturally, and then you have another conversation next summer, and you go, right, Trafford, we actually don't think you're going to be good enough to be number one, so we're bringing in someone else, and then whatever. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty chill on it. Let me just catch up. Yeah, I don't know. I want Brian to explain himself there. I have no idea where that came from. I have no idea where that came from. That was really fucking weird. Sort it out. Yeah, indeed. I need to sort it out. Hello, Phil Foden. How are you? Trafford is a good goalkeeper, definitely. Once again, is he going to be good enough to immediately become our number one? That was the concern. That was my concern, sorry. That concern doesn't necessarily have to be a thing right now. I've not seen the new Fantastic Four movie. Just get it right back now. We still need 4 outgoings to happen in respect of a non-homegrown situation. If we want a non-homegrown right back, one of the moving parts has happened. We still need 4 more moving parts to happen. We shall see. To satisfy Champions League registration anyway. Otherwise, people are being left out, and we don't want that, do Nope, that is not correct, B, I'm afraid. It would be correct if we were only looking at the Premier League rules, but not for the Champions League, I'm afraid. So that, I'm afraid, is incorrecto. That is incorrect information. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. That is wrong. I think he would leave on a free at that point, wouldn't he? Yes, if he were to stay a year. And I'm fine with that because, I mean, the amounts... I know that we were looking at higher amounts last year for Ederson, but the amounts that are being quoted right now is not even a lot for Ederson, so I feel like it's worth... I'd rather just keep him at that point and sell Ortega, and we will have to sell Ortega, that's the thing. This is assuming that we sell Ortega, by the way. I don't see why we wouldn't, because he's a very good goalkeeper. Who knows, maybe he can go to Burnley. I don't know. But there we go. Why is everybody saying Ederson's going? He does it every year and stays. What's up with that? Well, hopefully Ederson does stay. If Trafford is fine with this being a succession plan, sounds like the best case scenario. I don't see why he wouldn't be happy with it, because I'm sure he will even have in his mind, you know, because Ederson got a couple injuries last year and indeed the year before that as well. There will be opportunities for him, and he might even be thinking in his head, if I can like just get a couple of games in the Premier League, you know, because of an Ederson injury or suspension or whatever, and prove himself in a bigger format, then we know he's got the self-belief and the confidence to, in his own mind, to go, I think I can do it. Who knows? But either way, he's surely looking at that and going, oh, there must have been a conversation to have been had, because I refuse to believe, based on everything that he said, I refuse to believe that there hasn't been a conversation between him and City where they've basically gone, look, here is the plan. Ederson is leaving at the end of the year, if not this summer. In which case, you'll be here and he won't be here. So surely that's a thing. Surely that's a thing. I want the playing time to be split 50-50. I don't know how... I certainly don't want that in the Premier League. I don't want it to be like, you know, different goalkeeper every game. Because that would be mad. I don't think a Premier League's ever been one doing that. But I don't mind... You know, I don't even mind like Trafford being the absolute number one in the Champions League. I don't even dislike that as a concept, because that has been done before by competent sides. Like Barcelona have done that before in the past, haven't they? I don't know if they did it when they won the Champions League, but you know, certainly not in the Premier League though. We can't be doing that. Ederson will leave end of the season. Isn't that what we've been saying, Itchy Goat? Because his contract ends next season, or do you mean? But the season's already ended. What do you mean end of the season? Do you mean like this summer? Or do you mean the end of next season? Because the end of the season's already happened. We are in the end of the season. It's already happened. We are post end of the season. Yeah. I don't know what that means. Do you mean he's going to leave this summer, or do you think he'll stay? I'm sorry. I don't understand. Could I briefly cover the homegrown issue now of Trafford? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, B, but I'm sorry to call you out, but you've done 3 incorrect comments here. If Ortega leaves, and Ederson stays, and Trafford comes in, then we are now at 17 non-homegrown players for the Premier League, which is the upper limit. So for the Premier League, we are fine. We are fine now. If Ortega goes, of course. Right now, we're actually over it, but I'm assuming Ortega's going to go. That does not mean, even by Premier League rules, by the way, that we can sign a non-homegrown right-back. Either way. Well, it does if Ortega leaves. Right now, it hasn't happened. But either way, the Champions League rules are harder because we can't rely on the loopholes of Savio, Kusanov, Hayes, and Echeverry. So there is still a surplus here. In order to sign a non-homegrown right-back, 5 things have to happen. All of these moving parts have to happen. Trafford has to come in for one of Ortega or Ederson. That's happened. That's lovely. Gundogan probably has to go. Akanji has to go / Hayes has to be loaned out. Echeverry has to be loaned out. Kovacic probably has to go as well. So 5 slots have to be created to sign a non-homegrown right back. One of those has been created if Ortega goes. Still a long way to go. I'm not saying it can't happen. I, of course, hope it does happen. But my starting point is not, all of these 5 things, well, 4 now, all of these 4 things will definitely happen. Let's wait and see, shall we? Yeah, guys, get the likes up. It is free. Peroni and Ortega both gone non-homegrown. Well, we were never counting Peroni in the conversation anyway. And Ortega gives us 1 slot, which is fine, but we need another 4. Risky business, but I'm looking forward to Trafford. Yeah, and it is a risk, of course. I guess every single goalkeeper is going to be in risk unless you're signing like an absolute star. But nearly every single goalkeeper that we were having a conversation about were either like quite young or the jury was out on them anyway. So I feel like no matter what we did, there was going to be a risk involved. But I'm hopeful that Trafford's going to develop into our number 1. And he's certainly going to develop into England's number 1 as well. I mean, we won quite a bit last time we had England's number 1. So I'm pretty happy about it, to be honest with you. Pretty happy about it. If Ederson's also staying. Yeah, so hopefully that's all explained now, Callum. Exactly, Fuskan, exactly. I would be staggered. I would be staggered if... Because I think someone's just said, why can't we just not put Hayes in the Champions League squad? Well, I mean, first of all, then tell me where's Hayes getting any of his game time? Because I feel like, some of those early Champions League games would be optimal minutes for him. But what are the chances that City as a club would do that? I feel like that would be really bad if we did do that. Like, just bad for morale and just bad for vibes and just like bad squad planning as well. So it's a thing. Okay, B, are we going to have a fight? Champions League rules state you need 8 homegrown players with no more than 25 players, but you can have an unlimited of List B players under 21. No, that is not correct. That is not correct, B. You are wrong on the Champions League rules. They do not count under 21 players in the same way as the Premier League does. You are objectively incorrect. Do not try to come at me with homegrown knowledge, because I'm a homegrown wanker and I know the rules. That is not how it works for the Champions League. They treat under 21 players differently than the Premier League. This is why it is a problem. Please do not leave another incorrect comment about the homegrown situation. Thank you. Or I will be very frustrated and I will stop replying. You will lose replying privileges because I'm getting bored of having to explain it every single time. Anyway. And where about Trafford becoming Old Trafford? Hello. Oh, I don't, Matthew, what does that mean? Hello, Ozzy, how you doing? Can see Trafford playing 25 games in all comps. I guess depends how far we go in like the FA Cup. That's a good question. How many starts does the chat reckon Trafford gets next year? What do we reckon? I guess depends how far we go in each competition. But let's say we at least get out now, like the quarterfinals of the fucking FA Cup. How many starts? I think that he might... Because Ortega did start a few games in the Premier League, even when Ederson was available. So I think he's going to start a few games in the Champions League. In the Premier League. Not like a lot. I don't know if he'd start like double digits. But I can see him getting like... I don't know, 5 to 8 in the Premier League, maybe. Minimum. A fair few in the Champions League as well. Once again, I know it depends on how far we go into these competitions. But let's say between like FA Cup and League Cup, 10. Is that too far? Is that too many? For FA Cup and League Cup. How many games do you play in the FA Cup if you get to the final? Because I always get confused. Because City always enter at the 3rd round. And then there's a 4th round, a 5th round. 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. And then does it go to last 16? And then quarterfinals, and then semis, and then finals? Do you play 7? Have I made that up? Is it 7? I don't know. I reckon City can play 5. maybe like 3 in the League Cup or 4, because we normally sack it off, don't we? Yeah, we'll say 8. Why not? We'll go for 8 there, and then like maybe 5 in the Premier. No, say 8. Let's say 8 in the Premier League. So what's that? 16, and then maybe like another 8 in the Champions League. So 8, 16, 24. Yeah, so around 20 to 25 starts. That seems, across all competitions, that seems to be fair. 20 to 25. That seems pretty decent. Yeah, I think that's a good amount. I'd be happy with that as an amount, but what do you guys reckon? At least 30. That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. 2018, more than 20, 20, 28, 25 seems right. Only 50, 15 Premier League and 10 Champions League. Oh, but he's going to play League Cup and FA Cup as well. I'm about to fight the hardest Souls game boss ever. Good luck, Spartacus. Love that from you. Good luck. Good luck. Everyone, please, can we give wishes to Spartacus on his quest? Hello, Yash, how you doing? A lot of outgoings are still needed. Yes, indeed, EA. We still need to make 4 available slots. I'm confident that we can make. I'm confident that Gundogan will go. Or semi-confident that Gundogan will go. That Echeverry will go out on loan. I'm less confident that we'll be able to move on, Akanji and Kovacic, which would also have to happen. But we will see. We'll see what we see, won't we? We shall see what we see. Yeah, the price is interesting, isn't it? Because we obviously sold him as well, didn't we? So how much have we, in real terms, how much have we actually spent? Because the buyback was 40 million, but we spent 27 million, which is obviously really good. Just goes to show that obviously you can get a better deal if like the player wants to join you, of course. So then, that means Newcastle must have bid 27 million, and we matched it, I suppose. And how much did we sell him to Burnley for immediately? Immediately, did I just say? Initially. How much did we sell him to Burnley for initially? We sold him for 14 million. Yeah, so net, we've only ended up paying 13 million quid, which is pretty good, I'd say. I guess you could say, well, it's actually 13 million loss because you could have just kept him, but you've got to understand that, like, Trafford wouldn't have developed into the player he is right now, where we would want to end up, starting him, had he not had those minutes out, playing for Burnley, whatever. So, I think that's a price worth paying. We've basically spent £13 million for him to have some experience playing for Burnley, I suppose. Which I think is, if it ends up being experience that leads to him being good enough to be our number 1, then I think that's pretty good. That is nice. Yeah, 20 mils, it's 27 is a steal. As I say, net, it's more like 13, which is good. I remember before he left Burnley, he has some starts in the Carabao and FA, so maybe 15 to 20. Yeah, I think if we can get to like 20-ish, I think that we're looking good. Around 20-ish would be good. As I said, it'd be really interesting to see how, again, if Ederson gets an injury and Trafford comes in, and if Trafford performs and then Ederson comes back, it'd be really interesting to see what does Pep then do. That would be interesting. Gundo is still here, yes. Well, if we tell them to... Mate, IDK, we're gonna fight. Stair watched every save Trafford made this season. His positioning is good, but he does need to work on claiming the ball on corners. That was a big... I know that was a big criticism of him in his Premier League season. It did get better last year. I take the point that it can get even better, but this is the good thing. He's 22, going to be 23 later this year. He's young. For a goalkeeper, he's a baby as well. So there's hopefully plenty of time for him to adapt, develop, whatever you think of Ederson, learn from Ederson, and hopefully bed into City. What about Grealish? Well, he's hopefully going to go, but he sadly does not really help for our homegrown situation. Oh yeah, MCFC CTID. Look, free Palestine, obviously, but I don't want a swastika in my chat. Can you, like, please not have that profile picture? Otherwise, like, a mod will ban you because I don't want a swastika on my channel. Thank you very much. I understand free Palestine. I get it, obviously. I'm with you on that. But please, like, don't have that profile picture in my chat. I don't want a swastika in my chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Do we have a sell-on clause? I know we had a buyback and a matching clause. I don't know about a sell-on, to be honest, Harris. I don't know about that. In an ideal world, you would have buybacks and, you know, matching clauses in every one of your contracts, wouldn't you? Just in case they do well. But I suppose you can only do that to a certain extent. You can only do that to a certain extent because, what if that player doesn't actually want to come back? Do you know what I mean? I can see Nico O'Reilly playing as a DM. I don't know if he's that sort of midfielder, to be honest, mate. I think he's more of an 8, maybe even like more of an advanced midfielder. I don't know if he's a defensive midfielder, to be honest. I think there's too much of his game going forwards for that, to be honest. Thank you for the super chat, mate. I love going bold. It's so funny. Weirdly hopes an outfield player was going to wear #1 for us. What? Why would this be the case? What is going on? What is happening? Thank you for your super chat, mate. We did have a selling clause. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I've never seen him play as a defensive midfielder, and I don't think he ever is going to play as a defensive midfielder. I don't think that's his skill set. I think that would be a waste. For me, he's an all-round 8/ even more, erring more into an advanced one. He's got that instinct in front of goal as well. Wasn't he a striker back in the day? Makes sense. That tracks. That tracks. Bigger steal than Reinders, says Dave. I think HMSC stays. If he does, then that is like bad from our squad building perspective and registration perspectives. That's all I'm going to say to that. I hope he goes to Lyon. I hope he goes to Lyon. Because they're now not relegated. So that would be lovely. Why does that become bold? I become bold when super chats come in. It's like a fun little thing. 20% selling clause. That's good. So it's like the perfect sort of contract, which is good. So I'm a very, very happy boy. A very, very happy boy with the Trafford situation. Yeah, so he does obviously still need to improve. Like Elder mentioned, like the coming for crosses. I would contend that has gotten a lot better since his first year. I'll do a full in-depth analysis video maybe next week. So do stay tuned for that. I'll go into it in a bit more detail. But I do think that the player that we saw in the Premier League has massively improved since then. It makes sense. He would have been, what, 20 years old? Maybe in early 21 in that first season for Burnley. And that's the thing as well. Lots of people are having to go at him for that Burnley campaign. And I get it. But you got to remember, like, it was a relegated Burnley side at the end of the day. And they didn't get relegated because of Trafford either. The amount of shots that he was having to face was absolutely insane. He's actually more likely to face a similar number of shots in his championship season playing for City, because City barely face any shots relative to the rest of the Premier League. I know last season was not ideal, but usually City have the best record in that sense of like not facing shots, or second, to a more recent Arsenal. So it's not like Trafford's going to be facing as many shots as he would have been for Company's Burnley, which is good. I think last time we chatted about, because I do think that Trafford's probably an upgrade on Ederson in respect to shot stopping, and I'm really hopeful that will have like a domino effect of that will then lead to the midfield being, that'll lead to the defense being more certain of themselves. That will lead them to making less mistakes as well. And hopefully, as I say, it's going to be like a nice little domino effect thing, where City just more defensively solid. In those moments where we are vulnerable on the counter, and we know we always are, we know for a fact that our goalkeeper will have to deal 1v1 at times. It has become really tiring and jarring to know that basically every time there's a 1v1, you know it's basically going in the goal. I don't know if that's fair based on data, but it just seems to me. I always think we're going to concede. I have no faith or confidence that we're ever going to stop that sort of thing. Even though like a goalkeeper shouldn't be expected to do it, sometimes I expect them to do it. You know, every now and then. Given how many of those situations happen, it's obviously good to have that sort of Trafford. It's good to have Trafford in there who can obviously be a better version of that. So I'm very happy with that as well. This is correct, Spartacus. Yes, this is why Ake counts as homegrown. This is why David Raya counts as homegrown. You know what's really frustrating? I don't think I'm wrong in saying this. If we signed Vitor Hayes like a few months, so if we signed him in like the summer rather than the winter, I'm pretty sure he would have counted as homegrown, which is a massive shame because we signed him when he turned 19. I think he turned 19 in early Jan, and we signed him mid to late Jan. So Vitor Hayes would have become homegrown after a few years. Sadly, that wasn't the case. I don't know about Echeverri because I think we technically sign him when he was 18. So I think Echeverri might become a homegrown player. I'm not 100% on like how old he was when we signed him. I think so, Uzi. As I say, don't quote me on that because I've not properly looked into the when we technically registered and had Echeverri on our books. I don't know exactly when that happened. But yeah, it's a shame about Hayes because he would have done had it been like a couple months prior. Really frustrating. Really frustrating. How many more new signings do we need to compete next season in the domestic and Champions League? How many we may need? Well, ideally we'd get a right back, but we'll see. We want Vanderson, says B. Well, let's wait for outgoings to happen because that can't happen right now. I would be interested to note where, because I've not scouted him, so I don't really know much about him. I don't know where it came from. Not saying it's a bad thing. I would be interested to know who started this, because seemingly out of nowhere, everyone in my chat one day said, we want Vanderson, he's great, he's the perfect signing. So someone has started this, we want Vanderson. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I started fucking Singo and Simicon, etc., whoever. I'd be interested to know, where did Vanderson come from? Was it like another creator? Or someone on Twitter? Or... be interested to know, because as I say, that literally just came out of nowhere one stream. I was like, oh my god, everyone loves Vanderson. Okay, fairs. Interesting. Reed's another one that I've seen a lot of good things about. Trafford was playing as an aggressive sweeper keeper. The yellow cards were inevitable. And we need that as well, to be fair. We need that as well. What do I think about Spence? I think he's fine. Fraud won't. Is that true? I thought he would have. I thought he may have done it depending on when we signed him on his date of birth. I don't know. Was it 1.5 years? Was it really? If it was, so what? We signed him when he was like 17. Is that right? I thought he was 18. I don't know though. Either way, there might be a world where that happens. We officially signed him in January of 2024. Can someone fact check that? Because if that's true... Wait, when in January? And the day matters. The day matters. And the age, obviously, as well. Can you find that out for me, please? I just want to write back that isn't a bozo. Yeah, Fess. Thank you for your super chat, matey. Here's a fortune for you. Rivers need springs. I quite like that. What are your thoughts on him, mate? I've not scouted him. Yeah, big up to Singo. That's my boy. Oh, was it Martin? So does Martin know something then? Or is Martin like an avid Monaco watcher? We can't. A007, no. We still need to make 4 slots for the Champions League. Oh, he was on the list. Okay, interesting. So he is on the list. What sort of list? Should I be worried? I need to get Dumfries. No. Akanji, the best right back option. Well, he's not going to help us going forwards. That's the problem there. Oh, Spartacus, have you started the Van der Sar train, you little rat? Trafford isn't a City starter, says PMAC. It doesn't necessarily need to be next year because it looks like Ederson's staying. But he clearly will be the starter once Ederson leaves. Like, unless he's absolutely stinky and we end up selling him. He's not signed for City to become a number 2. Definitely not. Definitely not. He will be our long-term number 1, or he will be the number 1 somewhere else. He's not going to be happy being like a long-term number 2, is he? Hello, Andrew. How you doing? 4-4-2 versus Newcastle, Ekatike and Isak. Oh, that would be a massive flex, wouldn't it? He signed in Jan 2024. Right, okay. I'm going to find... we're going to do some research right now. I need to know the exact day. I need to know exactly how old he was. Because I think that would mean that Echeverry would become a homegrown player as far as the Premier League's concerned. Which is very interesting indeed. On the 25th of January... How old was he on the 25th of January? Oh, his date of birth's the 2nd of Jan. What a prick. What a dickhead. What are you doing, mate? Why couldn't it have been December, you little prick? Right. So, 2024. So he would have been 18, wouldn't he? He would have been 18 when we signed him. So yeah, he will count as homegrown in a few years. Sick. That's nice. Good. That's good to know. If he stays, obviously. If he stays. That's good, though. That's good to know. He will be. He will be in a few years. In 3 years, he will be homegrown. Sorry if I didn't specify that. But he will be in like when he turns 21. Yeah, guys, don't spam, please. I've not been seeing that. I've just seen people saying don't spam. So that's good. That's very good, and that's very lovely. If that is the case. Although I don't know how it works, because then he went straight back out on loan. But he will if he's here for 3 years. Like William Saliba. William Saliba's a homegrown player. Okay, first of all, Samir, why are you telling me to read the Premier League squad rules as if I haven't read them a million times? Secondly, you're conflating homegrown with under 21. Hayes will count as under 21 for the Premier League, not for the Champions League. That's the point. Well, William Saliba wasn't, was he? So no. Saliba counts as homegrown for Arsenal, and he went on loan for 2 years. Didn't he, Saliba? He didn't stay at Arsenal, did he? So he was still an Arsenal player on loan there. So why would it be different for Echeverry? It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Saliba was on loan for 2 years. Yeah, and don't worry, guys. I've double-checked. I've double-checked Ari Saliba, and Arsenal have him with the little asterisk. The little asterisk, yeah? Chat now! PMAC, if that even is your real name. PMAKKKK. Anyway. I'm worried about locker room vibes. Nobbins, are you worried about locker room vibes with Eddie and Trafford? Ederson seems to have beef with Ortega. Wait, what? Am I worried about locker room vibes with Eddie and Trafford. See, Ederson seems to have beef with Ortega getting praised after Spurs. Well, Ederson's going to be out anyway, isn't he? So I don't think that's going to be a problem, to be honest. I don't see why it would be a problem. Why would it be a problem? Because he knows he's going to be gone anyway. So, you get me. I don't know why that would be a thing. I don't see it being a problem anyway. Why would it? Yeah, if Ederson stays, then surely he agrees to the deal. Yeah, exactly. Like, he'd know the situation, wouldn't he? And he'll know, surely he'd be happier, if anything, because he knows that he's not even going to be here in a year. So I'm hopeful that he can sort of do the, well, I was going to say the honourable thing, but just like do that, you know, the I'm employed by the club thing of being like this great mentor for a year, whatever. Teach Trafford, etc., etc., etc. And it'd be a lovely time had by all. I don't see why that would be a problem. I don't see why that would be a problem at all. What the hell? What is going on? We should play 3 centre-backs and Nori at left-back. So there will be some games where that happens. I don't doubt there will be some games where that happens. However, there will also be some games where we want the right back to do that as well. Because if you're doing this, then it means that you have to start Savio, or you are confining Shirky or Foden to the touchline right wing, which would be mental. So it depends on the game, I think. I think it depends on the game. Excuse me. Indeed, Ozzy. I don't see why there would be an issue. What happened with the whole Leon loan situation? I don't know if there's been any developments there. I don't know if there's been any development there at all, to be honest, mate. I'd like to think that Echeverri can just go out there on loan. Because I don't really see like where he's going to get any meaningful game time for City, and we've touched on it. We don't even have the space to accommodate him either. So that's the thing. That is a thing. Would I start Foden this season? Yeah. Shirky's ready to crush United in the Premier League. Yes, indeed. Petition to sign Bradley. Liverpool aren't. He's not going to want to leave Liverpool, and Liverpool aren't going to sell him to us anyway. So I don't think so. IDK. That's a good point as well, DJ. Yeah, this isn't Player FC, of course. You know, of course, we want to play our best players, of course, but we've got to. We can't satisfy the whims of individuals. You get me? Do you get me? Conor Bradley's not better than Livramento. Indeed, Uzi. I've seen Ait Nouri play a Riem. I don't know what that means. Do you mean I've seen Ait Nouri play right midfield, maybe? Play as right midfield versus us in 2024. No, we're not playing a left back at right back. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. Bradley's injury prone. That's fair. Is there anything else that we want to chat about today? Really, because I feel like there's not too much to talk about at Trafford, because we obviously had like a Trafford stream last week. Is there anything else we want to discuss? Any other questions on Trafford? Let me know, guys. Let me know. Wait, who's hating on Echeverri? I don't hate Echeverri, but he's not as good as, you know, some people think. I am ready for dominating like City United have. Andrew, let's hope not. But thank you so much for your super chat, mate. I don't know if you saw the lineup that I put out on Twitter that Liverpool could have. It does look quite scary if they do sign Isak, to be honest with you. how much signs I'm expecting City to make totally depends on outgoings. I don't know the answer to that. It totally depends on outgoings. Guys, allow me. My brain wasn't functioning. Chill, chill, chill. Who finishes with more GA this season in the Prem? Ait Nori or Savio? Savio. Because he was still one of our best creators last season in his first season. So I'd expect him to do well. I expect him to do very well. It's not an LB filter, for God's sake. It's a Fraudiola filter. I would love that. I would love that, Airy. That would be ideal. That would be an ideal situation to get him some meaningful game time and meaningful minutes. Definitely, I agree. I know it's horrible. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'd want to play my left back at right back. I don't know why that would be the case. I don't know why that would be the case. Don't have Twitter. I'd probably keep it that way. I mean, I have to have it, obviously, because for content creation stuff, but goodness me, there are some specimens. There are some specimens on that app. And speaking of specimens, and Twitter. Let's talk about that. Is this about this? Why do you think Marmoush is better than Doku/Rodrigo at left wing because football Twitter's turned on him? Wait, football Twitter's turned on who? Marmoush. This is what I want to talk about, actually. That's what I want to talk about. Also, Samir, I've got fucking memory sometimes if I want to be petty. Yeah? If we do not do all those 5 moving parts, which I said it's a useful thing to talk about. If we don't do all those 5 moving parts, one of them has been done. If we don't do all of those things, I'm going to require an apology from you. You know what I'm talking about. We will see. We'll see. Anyway, back to, yeah, apparently this has happened. Now, speaking of specimens, this is what I want to talk about. Why has... Let's say Liverpool sign Isak for a moment. Let's just assume that happens. Let's assume that happens. Because this was the reaction. Isak announced he was going to Newcastle. The next thing was that therefore means that he's going to Liverpool. So let's, for now, assume that will happen, okay? Just for argument's sake. Why does that fact then mean that City's signings this in 2025, let's say, have been bad? Why does that... I've seen some people say Marmoush is a panic signing, for example. What the fuck, guys, are we doing with our pathetic lives? A few weeks ago, these same people were spaffing into their cornflakes and eating up this transfer window at how excited they were and how wonderful they were and happy they were with the signings and whatnot when they all happened. Why does this potential move now mean that our signings are dog shit? Why... Where is the logic here? And I've seen this a lot on Twitter. I've literally seen people, as I say, saying Marmoush is a panic buy or whatever. What the fuck? What are we talking about? Let's go through all these signings, shall we? And actually try to offer some perspective. Because this has pissed me off a little bit, to be honest. I get it. If you're scared of Isak going to Liverpool, fine. He's a very good player. They're a very good club. I get it. But that doesn't then mean that City's business has been dog shit. And the rebuild is now a failure. So let's do that. Let's do that. Now, there were some players there where you look at them, like, you know, the players like Echeverry, players like Hayes, who came in Jan, and you look at them and you go, a Bar, if you want to include him technically as well. And I also guess Naipan. I'm going to put all these 4 into like the same category. Like, yeah, these are all not players who are going to improve our starting 11. They are not players who you want to be taking the place of all our senior players. They are players who you either want to be slowly embedding or preferably, sending them out on loan, like we already have done with Bar, like we're hopefully going to do with Naipan, whatever. So we park those to one side because they are prospects, future signings. We will either hopefully sell them for a profit or they will get embedded at one time. So let's park those to 1 minute. They're all good signings, I think. Very low risk, basically all of them. Okay, so those are the young ones. Razad, I've not got to him yet, don't you worry. Who were the other players we signed in Jam? Well, we signed Nico Gonzalez, who wasn't as underutilized as many made out. However, I will agree that he should have played more minutes and featured more towards the end of the season. But in fairness, we were winning games in that period. So it's that sort of thing, isn't it? There's no doubt in my mind that, when Gundo Kova go, hopefully Gundo this summer, everyone will see how good Nico is and he will get that game time. So that is not a bad signing or a panic signing or whatever. And even if it were a panic buy, which I don't fucking agree with, he's a good player anyway, so I don't give a shit. I don't care. It was a much needed signing we had to make. So there we go. Nico, that's a good signing. An option to come in to replace Rodri, an option to come in and rotate with Reinders as well. Maybe even a long-term Rodri alternative. Who knows? Jury's still out on that, but certainly short-term, a much-needed signing for our midfield. Kusanov, who I wouldn't throw into the category before with, Hayes, Studler. Basically, every single game he played well. So I don't know why people are now down on that as a concept. Fine. He's a young player as well. He will become a starter at City. I'm very convinced of that. Marmouche, who was arguably City's best player from January through to the end of the season, one could argue. One could contend. He's certainly up there anyway. In respect to, goal contributions and output, he was up there anyway. Why does Isak joining Liverpool now mean that Marmouche is a bad player and was like a panic signing, and that suggests that we shouldn't have signed him? We needed a versatile forward, and he's a versatile forward, and we haven't even seen the best of him yet because he's going to get unlocked with Aït-Nouri and Haaland on the pitch at the same time. What are we doing? Right, so that's that. Okay, we're fine. So what have we signed there? We've signed some prospects. We've signed a really good rotational midfielder. We've signed a really good now and future centre-back. And we've signed one of the best forwards in the league based on last season, at Frankfurt. He's already an elite player, in my opinion. And last season, he was ridiculous output, as I say, for Frankfurt, and then played well for City as well. So that's good. He's a good player. So that in isolation's good. Now, who else did we fucking sign? We signed like a third choice goalkeeper, whatever. That's fine. We signed one of the most exciting number 10s and creative players in the world. Objectively, one of the best passing creators in the world. We signed him. FYI. That's just an FYI. Don't know if you guys fucking knew that. Don't know if you watched my analysis video. He's one of the best creative players in the world via the pass. We signed that guy. Yeah, we signed that chap. Pretty good signing, I'd suggest. He's only 21. He's only going to get better. I'd suggest that's a pretty good signing. That's a pretty good signing. Yeah? We signed a left back. Not only a left back, one of the best attacking left backs in the Premier League. Hello? We all knew we needed a left back who could attack, and we signed him. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, we signed one of the best 8s in the world. Literally in the world. That's what Reinders is, and we've already seen that. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here by trying to suggest that this year for signings hasn't been good? Which of those signings is the bad one? Which of those is the one that's taking us backwards? What is happening? Ah, Andrew, you didn't watch my analysis video. He can defend. He can defend. In fact, he's actually in the good category in respect of defending. So what's going on, lads? That's my little rant. Grow up. Not you guys watching, but to the people who are saying shit like that. Like, just grow up. Get over yourself. Perspective. And I don't know, like, stop acting like petulant baby children. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. Stop being a little reactive swine because another club has signed a good player. We've signed good players as well. There's still work to do, obviously. We need a lot of players to go. We preferably need another player to come in. But what we're not going to do is revise the quality of the signings we've made this year. You can't be really happy with them a few months ago and now all of a sudden be like destitute and in the mud. You know what I mean? You can be concerned about rivals, and that's fine. I'm concerned about Liverpool, and that's fine. But that does not equate to, therefore, City signings are now dog shit. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Let's take Reinders as an example. Realistically, who actually would have been a better signing for City? A signing that we could have made feasibly. As that 8th player. Who, and don't say fucking Pedri, because that's not realistic. Realistically, who could we have signed of his quality? I don't even know if a player exists. I was a big fan of Bruno G. That wasn't happening. Newcastle weren't playing ball, so that's irrelevant. Who else actually could we have signed better than Reinders? Who else, realistically, could we have signed better than Shirky for what we need right now? You can't say Wirtz because he didn't want to come to City. I actually do not know if we could have had better signings than those two based on what we were after. Like, name me the players. Name me the players who are better. Iniesta, Spartacus, we are going to have a fight and someone is going to lose. Okay, and someone's going to get embarrassed and battered. I'm not going to name names. But someone is losing that fight. True Citizen, we're going to fall out. There isn't a player, is there? There isn't one. I don't think there is a player. Not one that's realistic, anyway. Barella, don't give me fucking Barella. Elder, what we doing? Fucking Cafu. Fucking Barella. Baleba is an interesting one, and that's maybe the only one that I would entertain. But even then, Baleba is not as good as Reinders is right now. He is a player who I think will develop into that player. That's an interesting shout, to be fair. But Reinders is still better right now. Right now, Reinders is the better player. And I don't think there is anyone that we could have got better than Shirky either. In that, again, name me this high volume passing creator who is of the requisite quality and who would have wanted to join City and who we could have realistically got him. So don't say fucking Wirtz and don't say fucking Palmer and don't say fucking Pedri and all these twats. Who actually could we have gotten better than Shirky? Who would have wanted to join? And again, you can't say Wirtz because he didn't want to come to City. De Bruyne, miracle. What are we doing? I want Yamal. You can't have Yamal. He's staying at Barcelona for his whole career, mate. Ederson, no way someone said Ederson from Atalanta. Surely not. Surely not. Champions. Bayern is an interesting shout, definitely. But I think even he was desperate to stay in Spain. So I take that name and concept 100%. Even then, it's an argument, and it's not like oh, he's massively better than him. And again, I don't even think that he wanted to leave Spain. Hasn't he gone to Atletico Madrid? Am I being stupid? I feel like he has. So I actually don't know what these people wanted. So it's all well and good talking about, I don't know. It's all well and good talking about Wirtz, but he didn't want to come. So why? So there's no point of even talking about him. There was no better option than Shirky. There was no better. Clearly, there was no better option than Reinders. Clearly, not one that I can think of that is realistic anyway. You can have the chat about, you know, could we have got a better left back than Nori, and I will contend that that we probably could have gotten a player who was a bit better. But I don't think that we're talking about a player who's like, you know, miles better. If we're being realistic, we were not going to get like Nuno Mendes, for example. Again, we've got to live in a world of realism here to an extent. You get me. So it's a thing. Jack. That would be an interesting experiment, to be fair. Gibbs White is not better than Reinders. What? Oh, of course, yeah. We need to get rid of the old guard. We need to get rid of the old guard, definitely. And this is why now the key is on outgoings. That is now the key. I think City have done great work on the incomings. That's great. The outgoings now is what we need to do. That's what we need to do. But yeah, what we're not going to do, guys, certainly not on this channel, what we're not going to do is revise history and throw our toys out of the pram. That's not what is going to happen on this channel. And if you think it will happen, you're going to get called out. And maybe you won't like how aggressive I am. But guess what? I don't give a fuck. This is my channel. I can do whatever the hell I want. I'll call you out. Yeah? It will happen. It will happen. You guys can call me out as well, obviously. You know, for vibes. Ah! Right. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing? That was my little rant. That was my little rant. Any other points of note in like the last sort of like 10 minutes or so? Anything else that we want to discuss? Let me know. Let me know. You're calling me out. That's crazy, the stuff. Okay. I apologize. For whatever I did, I apologize. No, I'm not even gegenpressing chat. I'm gegenpressing Twitter. My tops are available in the Knob Shop. Yes, Thunder Roads. Not this one in particular. Not this one I'm wearing right now. This is Marvel. But yes, go to the Knob Shop. Link in bio. Link in the video description. Sorry, not the bio. Yeah, now this is a really interesting conversation to have, and I definitely agree. What I think the good news, favorite Pokemon game, Pokemon Heart Gold. The good news is that, and we've spoken about this before, is that there is going to be an exponential leap in our midfield and off-ball solidity next season. Because we are going to go from a midfield, you know, comprised of Gundogan and Bernardo, or Kova and Bernardo, or Kova and Gundogan, or a combination therein, whatever. We are going to go from that to, hopefully, certainly as an option, you know, Rodri Reinders, or of a midfield three, Rodri Reinders, Bernardo, if like Bernardo has to start. You know, oh, Spartacus game fucked on Elden Ring, whatever. Spartacus, sort out your roles, mate. I do think that just Rodri coming back to even 80% of his best, and Reinders coming in as well, alongside a proper six, we would be far more solid off ball. Also, just having more youth and exuberance in the side as well will mean we are better from a counter-pressing perspective. Reinders also helps with that also. If Marmoush is starting straight from the off, he's going to help that as well. For all my, I don't think concern is the right word, but hopefully you've watched my Shirky analysis video, so you know my thoughts on him off ball. He's actually done a lot better off ball than I thought he was going to do. Once again, it's more like in bursts rather than being a player who's always going to constantly press. But even a player like him, if we set him up correctly, then he's going to be a good off ball asset as well. I'm hopeful that there's going to be a big upgrade from last season, because you've got to remember like how much was coming against City, whether it was our fault or not, and a lot of it was our fault, a lot of it wasn't our fault. There was a lot of shit that just a perfect storm of wank that happened all at once, and I'm hopeful that with like players coming back from injury, players returning to the players that we know they are, new signings coming in, I don't see why we can't compete for the title. I don't see why we can't do that. That does not mean we'll win the title, because Liverpool are looking good. If Arsenal can, like, sign another 2 players, then they'll look pretty hot as well. But don't sleep on City. Don't sleep on Guardiola, because yes, last season was bad, and it was the worst year in like a decade, whatever. We still got the second most wins in the league, and we still scored, was it like the second most goals? And we still finished 3rd. And that's us at our worst, with everything going against us. Again, whether it's because of our fault or not. I'm not going to rule us out and say that we're not going to win. Nah, sleep on City. I would love rivals to sleep on us, obviously, but I'm not going to be someone who's going to say City are definitely not going to win the title next season. I'm not going to say that. Now, I will make like a prediction or whatever when the transfer window closes, and I will say that if Liverpool get Isak, and if we bring no one else in, then I will say that Liverpool are the favourites. That, and I don't have a problem saying that. But that is not the same as me saying that I don't think City can win the league, just because I think that Liverpool are more likely to win it. There's no reason why we can't challenge, and we haven't even reached the end of the transfer window yet. Neither have Liverpool, neither have City, neither have Arsenal. Chelsea wildcard, who knows? I'm looking forward to next season. I'm looking forward to it. I think the signings we made are good. The progress is good. Still got a lot of work to do. Of course we do. Got to get rid of Gundogan. Got to get rid of probably one of Akanji or Kovacic. Minimum. At least 2 more sales of non-homegrown players need to happen. Need to move on Grealish. Need to move on McAtee. So there's a lot of work to do. But there's time. And I'm going to reserve judgment until that time is up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream. Hopefully you did. Make sure to leave a like on the video, because we've had like over 300 people watching, which is great. Can we get to like 175? Close up to 200 likes before we go. That would be great. Go watch my most recent Ask Nobbins if you haven't already done so. There'll be normal service will resume. There'll be another Ask Nobbins out on Monday. So get your questions in. If you've got a question that you want answered in a bit more detail, pop it under the questions under Ask Nobbins. Like that one, for example, Nintendo. Pop that in the comments of like an Ask Nobbins, and then maybe I can like answer that in that video. That's a lovely situation. Yes, Red Dead Redemption 2 on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week on the Twitch. I've been loving the support on the Twitch recently, by the way, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's been coming over from the YouTube to the Twitch. If you haven't already done so, come over. Loads of people are discovering that I also stream on Twitch from the YouTube. They're enjoying themselves. We're having a whale of a time. We're having a gay old time, and it's lovely. So come follow the Twitch. Make sure you got all your notification bells turned on. because hopefully a Trafford analysis video will be out next week. That's my task for this weekend, to do a bit more research, become more learned, and learn about Rick Lenny, big ups to Lenny, and learn more about him. Exciting times, guys. Thank you so much for joining me as always. Big up to you all. Before I go, shout out to my beautiful members who are now going to be appearing on your screen. Get Twitch then, Ichigo. Twitch is free to download. Like, just download it. Get the app. Create a free account. It takes like 5 seconds. Easy mode. Come even more knob in your life. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening. Come on now. You know you want to. Big up to these beautiful members. Shout out to all of you. Also shout out to Andrew, Manav, and for the super chats. How am I rude? What have I done? What have I done that's rude? Hello? You're not good at it. You need to come over, mate. How does one become a member? You can click the join button. You can click the join button or the link in the video description to join the channel to get lovely perks, including exclusive videos. I'll be releasing an exclusive video next week with a not in-depth, but, you know, like a sort of brief review of some Trafford data that we can chat about. That should be good fun. That should be good times. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good weekend, guys. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.